have a quorum.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Warren Newport Public Library District provides the community with access to information, kindles the imagination of children and adults, and supports lifelong learning. Would anyone like to speak in public comment? All right. All right, anyone want to take anything off the consent? Okay, who'd like to make the motion?
I
So-
move
Go
the
ahead.
consent agenda be approved as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, Wendy
George.
George.
We're all
Give it a
talking together.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. Okay, President's Report, page 22. Anything on that? How about other people? Anyone else have a report?
I just signed the audit engagement letter for next year.
Okay, good job.
Cool, thank you.
I thank the committee.
We worked so hard.
You did.
Take your calls.
Don't discount your.
Yeah, you had to do it, that was good.
Anyone else? Okay, Ryan.
Yeah, in addition to the report on page 23, I sent out a email to the board this morning about a free speech audit that happened last Monday. And if you aren't familiar with what that is, it's all in the email. So as a result of that, as I put in the email, one of the things I would ask the board to do is reconsider Standards of Public Conduct 3060 to look at that. But so what happened, just to summarize, is that there are individuals across the country that will come into government agencies, not just libraries, and record and what they call a free speech audit, and record staff, and then kind of see what their response is. Because by law, staff we cannot, even though there are limits to free speech in different parts of the library, without getting into details, unless it's a staff area or a bathroom where you can expect privacy, there isn't a privacy expected for staff on the desk doing their jobs. So staff are recorded. Kearney Police responded and spoke to the individual and determined that this individual could record. So the individual continued to record and left after about an hour, and they did put the video on Facebook, or not Facebook, on YouTube, and there's been several views of that, and we've received phone calls and social media posts, that type of thing. So I mean, this is a one of those things that I think will these individuals have done their free speech audit, and will probably move on someplace else. But yeah, Andrea.
I'm all for embracing the First Amendment wholeheartedly, but what I object to is calling it a free speech audit. Audit implies that it is something official, and that is something regulated and endorsed, and somebody who is certified is doing it. And as a person who is an auditor, I take personal affront to the term, so I think we should call it something else where, someone's seeking to enforce their First Amendment rights, but I would like to not use the word audit, because it implies something that it is not, that this is not.
I will agree with you wholeheartedly there, because an auditor has some authority behind them. This is just a random person that nobody cares about that's trying to get attention on the internet.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say
Which you
that.
did.
I wouldn't
I
go so
would.
far as to say nobody cares about, but, I mean, everybody has the right to their free speech in whatever form that takes, and I embrace that, but I do reject the term audit.
I guess after watching the video and reading some of the comments, I stopped after a while. My concern was our staff and their privilege to be not, to
Not
say,
harassed.
I'm sorry, you don't get to, that's my freedom, you
Right.
don't get to take pictures of me. So I was concerned about how we can protect people who are uncomfortable by that. And I thought Rebecca and Kathy did as good a job as they possibly could. They stayed
Yeah.
settled. They, but obviously that gentleman was looking to stir the pot, in my opinion. I was very proud of the staff and how they handled it, but I also felt very badly that they were on the spot there. And I don't know, is there a way to protect folks
Yeah.
that are here?
That's what upsets me the most, Bonnie, is that, that staff were subjected to that. Of all government institutions, I would say public libraries are at the top of the list in terms of protecting people's free speech, so.
Right.
Yeah, we have educated staff, and we've told staff, if you wanna, if that ever happens again, you can, walk away from the desk, and a manager will come out, and we'll, so we have taken measures so people know they don't have
Okay,
to
good,
subject themselves to it. But yeah, that's my concern as well, the impact on staff, so it's been a rough week and 2 days, but I think we're, starting to move away, from it.
Also, I think when you have no respect for someone who says, please don't do that, it's a form of bullying to make your own point at someone else's expense, and then they put it up on YouTube, and I just.
Well, and even some of the patrons that walked by, there was an older woman with a grandchild, I assumed. And, those folks are just coming in and out, and this person has video of them now. We know how you can dice and splice and it seems an invasion of everyone's privacy that way.
Yeah.
I don't say that this gentleman didn't have a right to do what he did, but it upset me that other people were at the mercy of this
I also
gentleman.
was curious, when someone says they're a journalist, can you ask to see some credentials for that?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if they're journalists or not, they can still.
Well, I
do it.
think that was the primary thing that he thought made it okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We
Well-
are living in a world of citizen journalists now. You
I
don't have
see.
to be
That's right,
employed
that's
to
right.
be a journalist. You can just call yourself a journalist, buy yourself a press hat, and
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
anyone,
but a
YouTube
reputable
channels are.
journalist
YouTube
who
channels
said
are
wanted
free.
to write
You would
an
have
article about the
like
library would
ID
call the
and such,
director,
Right.
make an appointment,
Right.
ask if they could have a tour.
And if you wanted to object to the fact that it says in the standards of public conduct, you can't film staff, maybe you would write a letter to the board, to the library director, and say, hey, I would request you reconsider your policy. Obviously, that didn't happen, so
Right.
there were other motivations involved here.
Yes,
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
different motivations, yeah.
Well, AARP was also involved in that whole thing too, because he wanted to come into the place where the folks were getting some guidance about how to fill out their, he didn't go in, but.
Oh, the tax people.
The tax
yeah.
people, I'm sorry,
The
tax people,
AARP,
yeah. They were holding, appointments there
And they're volunteers.
yeah.
Can we include something in the policy that, as far as physical distance? I know here we have a certain line that people who are certainly allowed to film our meetings, they can't cross a line. I don't know if we had ever taped it off, but we had a problem with people setting up too much equipment and all of that. And, we don't have to provide them power, but also they can't approach over a certain line, like where these young men's feet are, it was somewhere there. But, getting right up in someone's face and filming them, that is threatening, and people may feel physically threatened, especially when they're manning a post that they can't move. So I just would wanna make sure that, film all you want, but you have to stay within a safe distance from someone.
And we can check with the attorney and see, I don't know the
Right,
answer to that
but
question.
from what I
Also-
remember on the video, he was not
Yeah,
super
he was
close to
super
that.
Yeah,
close.
but I would like
Yeah.
to make sure that our policy, whatever it is, it addresses
Sure.
that.
Yeah,
But again, it's just a policy against what his
Right, and
contention was, it was.
Also, if this is a different subject, but someone who is stalking someone, like as a ex-love interest or something like that, that they're not
A restraining
using
order.
Restraining.
this, even if there is no restraining order, but using this law, that someone's not stalked under the guise of freedom of speech. And I'm sure there are laws about that. But I don't know how we work all of this in, because what if an employee, I suppose they would leave and we have security for that, but we wouldn't want them, some like really evil genius to use those.
Right.
Well, the other concern I have, and the biggest concern I have, is not so much somebody coming in and recording staff performing their official duties. That, I can understand a narrow exception for that, but the people who come into the library to use the library are a different story. And what can we do to ensure that patrons are not being badgered by people coming in recording people?
That's a great question. I don't know that there's much, unfortunately. When I talked to our attorney about this, I asked, well, what about, can they record our patrons, including children? And basically said they can. But as and we're a neutral third party, but there could be an invasion of privacy if a parent said to this person, like, hey, this is my child, you can't record, and then perhaps the police get involved and intervene. So it is very gray, and this is not black and white,
Yeah.
that's
Do
for
we
sure.
even expect, once we change our policy, which we're more than willing to do, we wanna be in compliance with the First Amendment? I don't think anybody here is
Of course.
saying
Right, of course,
anything
yeah.
otherwise. What's the chances of somebody coming back and doing it again? I mean, all the time we've been here,
I mean,
I don't think there's
think
been anyone interested in doing that.
it's probably unlikely, because but it's possible,
know.
but unlikely. But I think that there are many government bodies for them to want to do this activity, and they'll probably move into those government bodies, is my guess.
Right.
But who knows? Your answer's-
If you read any of those comments, there was a, like, I don't wanna say a call to arms, but it was like, yeah, let's have more people come out there, and what was that woman's name? I mean, that was concerning to me, that there are other people out there, who knows what their motivation is, but now know who our staff people are, know where our library is, and feel like, okay, let's, I mean, honestly, I had to stop after a while, I was getting so upset, because it was, let's go, let's do this every day, somebody go, obviously it's not necessarily gonna happen, but it's, I wouldn't say this is over, I guess.
But you have to understand that's the intent.
To
The
frighten.
reason, no, it's trolling. Don't feed the trolls is the number one rule on the
Right,
internet.
right.
The more of those comments that people post, they're posting them to get attention. They're
Of
people who don't
course,
get enough
of course.
attention in real life, they need attention on the internet. So you ignore them and they go away, 90% of the time.
Okay.
Well,
We're
of
gonna
course,
go
they
for it.
look at the board meeting video and say, oh, let's keep doing this.
Mm,
But, people who to actually take action,
Probably not.
Well,
a lot less than what they threatened.
Then
if anyone is watching this and they want to keep doing this, they're more than welcome to record us at the library. And they're getting some very boring videos if they do it. So.
Just know we'll be laughing at you inside.
It's our freedom to express ourselves that way.
So
Okay.
Catherine, what are we moving that to, that policy?
Policy? Are we gonna talk about that?
Yeah,
tonight?
we'll bring 3060 back.
At the next cow or
Yeah.
after?
Let's do it sooner than later.
Yeah,
It's
I think
fresh.
that I would like to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The next
if
one.
that's okay with you, yeah.
Once
As long as you
Roger
have enough time
gives
to
us
do
his
what
full
we need to
advice,
do.
right?
Oh, yeah, we're gonna work
once
with
we
the
get
attorneys on this.
attorney
Yeah. Mhm.
information.
Anything else on your report?
Well, there are all kinds of positive things about the library, so.
Let's hear it.
Which I think is included in the report. So I'm pleased with, we've highlighted some of our collaborations, our partnerships. ASAs continues to come back and do workshops, which is really great. We've established another partnership with them, and ARP is going well, and we're helping out a lot of people in the community that need that service. It's vital, so I'm
The
excited
tax
about that.
service.
Yeah, the tax service.
And I'll say congratulations to Scott on his promotion.
Yeah.
Definitely my son James's favorite youth librarian.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah?
he's great. Scott is really
Oh.
terrific. Yeah, he really is. Yeah, we've got a really talented staff, so. Other questions or comments?
Okay, approval of the minutes. This is on here because Bonnie, right? Bonnie was absent and has to abstain.
Right,
No, it was because we forgot to approve them last week.
Oh, okay.
December
All right, but
13th one.
that, I mean, it's under,
Right,
Right,
yes,
right.
yeah, that's correct,
okay.
yes.
I move that the board approve the minutes of regular meeting for December 13th, 2022 as presented.
I'll second.
Let's have a roll call.
Arnold,
Aye.
Parkapisi,
Aye.
Flores,
Aye.
Hamilton,
Aye.
Katsinis,
Aye.
Sutton,
Abstain.
Beckwith.
Aye, sorry, I'm looking
Ayes
at the
have
next
it.
thing already. Okay, succession planning.
Okay, so if you turn to, this is the same material that was in the packet for the last meeting, and,
I got the postpone.
yeah, we had to postpone. So there are 4 items that are listed as discuss, and that's, review the current board, officers and committee roster, conduct board self-evaluations, evaluate effectiveness of current assignments, determine upcoming term expirations or vacancies, and review need of organization with regard to any projects that might be coming along. So if you turn to the succession grid, when I put this together, it was with the thought that, it would be status quo for the next term. I didn't have any information otherwise. So what we need to do today is to identify whether everyone in the current positions are planning to re-up for the next term. The one exception that we've discussed in the past is the treasurer position. But the others, I have no information on that, so if anyone has any changes, we should discuss that now and then look at what the succession planning would be for those positions. And the term for each board member is on the next page, just in case you need it. So for example, those of us who are planning to run for reelection, the year end is 2023. The 4 of us will be on the ballot for April, but there are other terms that are a little later. And the assumption was that everyone who's currently on the board would also plan to continue for the next cycle. And so if there are any changes around that, we should start planning now. So, with that, I'll
I
just,
think this time around, I'm really glad you put this together. This time around for the May, when the new board is seated, we're lucky enough that we know exactly who's, because I'm voting. And so as long as I vote, everybody on the slate who's running unopposed, which is all of you, will win. So, and I'm definitely gonna vote. So we're in a unique position
Well, thank
in
you.
that, a rare position in that we know who's going to be on the next board, and because there isn't anybody extra running. So I think if we can put that like in a, are we allowed to do that? Put it in like a committee of the whole meeting to discuss, and then we can vote on it, at the first May, at the meeting in May of the new
At the
board.
turnover meeting, yeah. Then we can just have a slate and vote on, make
Right.
one motion and vote on it.
Instead of people calling each other one-on-one behind the scenes, which is what happens when, in the past. But I think this is a very cooperative board, and I'm perfectly.
Yeah, that would make it a more transparent process. I mean, that way you're not hiding anything, it's out in the public, so
Mhm.
sure.
there's no downside really.
Does anybody have any objections to that? Joe?
No.
Yeah,
I
so,
mean, I think the next question, though, is that we know who's gonna be here in May, but then there are 3 of us whose terms are up in 2025, and it would help to know what people are thinking about rerunning.
2025 or 20?
Yeah.
25.
2 years from now.
Unless-
know,
unless
But,
someone else
but it's
turns
fair,
it
but
down.
someone may decide that they,
Yeah.
that's,
And I'll just start. I probably will not run in 2025.
I'm not planning to run in 2025. By then, I will have served
a number of years, yeah.
14 years.
13 years, 14 years, a long time. And my commitment to people, a government of the people, by the people, for the people. And so of the people, I will
You've
fulfill,
done.
thinking I've done my part.
And I'll just
Sorry,
say.
no pressure,
I'll
Catherine.
say for myself, I love doing it, but I also think that a board is stronger if there's some turnover, so I'm gonna go.
We can go out on Tuesday nights.
Yeah.
Oh, next Tuesday?
That's right.
That's right.
You don't have to worry about
Still 2 Tuesdays every month you can do that.
We're gonna call you next
Well,
Tuesday.
except you have to worry about the Open Meeting Act, so.
Oh, yeah, 2 though, I think you can do.
Yeah, that's right, two's
Oh,
okay.
right.
So,
Well, we
okay.
should train up Joe's replacement then.
Yeah.
The next tench, we should switch, I would think.
Right, so you're thinking
For this
you would
school
like to
year.
step down as president
I think that would be
in
good.
May.
I think so, that whoever is president next, I would still be here to mentor the person and
Yeah.
help.
Yeah, I think that makes for the smoothest type of transition.
Then you can really retire.
I just did really retire.
Yeah, right. Really, really,
From this board,
really,
too.
I
really.
mean, from work.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And I know this might have taken you by surprise, Catherine, so you might not have an answer, but if you do have an answer about rerunning, just go ahead.
I don't think I would rerun either.
Okay.
It's a good thing we had this discussion.
no-
Yeah,
So we have to start
Really thinking, and
encouraging
looking.
people to come to meetings and participate.
Yeah.
And, you know, we had a lot of interest from people with the bookmobile who love the library. And we've had other
Yeah.
interests in
Yeah,
other
there's something
areas,
else.
you know, we
Be
had a
really good.
patron who came to many, many meetings but, you know,
Right.
obviously we're gonna have to look for what we need
Uh-huh.
first,
Uh-huh.
which is how we got 2 of the great board members who are sitting to my right and to my right.
Mhm.
oh, thinking, right?
So that also means that people have to think about who's willing to be the president next time. That's in May, so we've got a little time, but
So can we put this as a meeting on,
Yeah.
schedule this, I think can't be something that's 10 minutes, it's gonna be.
oh no, and it can't be something
Half hour.
spontaneous like this. It's gotta be
Yeah.
when we know about it in advance and people have time to think about it.
Right, I mean, this I put this together as a jumping, as a,
Yeah,
Right.
to
this is
start
great,
the
yeah.
conversation.
Well, plus you
And it's
get
a good
that
thing,
skills
'cause-
assessment too, which is really good.
Yeah.
Right, right, right.
Can I say something?
Of course.
I don't know if this is appropriate, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So we all know that Joe is and has been an outstanding board president. And I know some of you would be thinking, I don't wanna follow, step in those shoes. But I will say, working with all of you, I think any of the trustees could step into the role and do a great job. So I don't want anyone to be, intimidated by that. So I just want to throw that out there to the board. And I would look forward to working with any of you I work with you anyway, but a closer relationship with any of you if you decided you wanted to pursue that, so.
Okay, and also, I'll just say, I agree, everybody on this board is awesome, and everyone has a different skill set, and whoever sits in this chair will have a different style, and that's okay. It's okay, it's great, actually, to have a little change.
And I would like to point out, as terrific as Joe is at this and, keeping us moving along and all of that, Joe Beckwith today was not the Joe Beckwith when she became board
That's
president. She has definitely taken the role and turned it into her own, and we would expect anyone to do that.
Yeah.
But she was certainly a novice when she started out.
Ryan and I talk about this, not all the time, but we talked about it recently, because I became president after we had all those terrible times, those few years that were bad. And I went to meet with Ryan for the first time, and I said to him, do you know how to do your job? Because he hadn't been here very long. And he said, I'm just trying to keep my head above water. And he said, do you know how to do your job? And I said, heck no, I have no idea how to do it. So we had to, figure it out
And you know what, you
together.
didn't have a good role model to follow.
No, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, and stepping into being a director of a municipal library in Massachusetts versus coming to a library district where all these things on my plate didn't have, it was a big leap.
Yeah, both of you.
So-
So you learn
Sure.
together, which
Yeah.
is nice.
Yeah.
Look how well it turned out.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we should put this on for next time then, right?
Yes, yeah, and so give it some thought, and if you have suggestions for, for people we can reach out to, to,
Thinking
start
ahead.
thinking about running for the board or being appointed, that would be helpful, and if you have any interest in the, the leadership positions, including the committees.
Okay. Anything else?
Any questions from anyone?
Thank you for doing that. It gives us it's a good way to start thinking ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so quarterly review of our board goals. So our board goals for this year were to work on succession planning, which obviously has been done, the treasurer's binder, and the third one was increased financial acumen, which I also think we've done. So the binder's kind of off track, but the rest, what are people's comments about progress on our goals?
I think we could use some more acumen.
Yeah?
We did one.
No, I
Two?
thought we did 3.
We did at least 2.
It may have been
We
done.
did
It may have been done.
budgeting, and we did, I think, reading financial statements.
Mhm.
And you thought 3 maybe?
I thought there was one more. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look at the agendas.
Maybe we need a test.
A test.
Oh.
No tests. Yeah.
We could do
Oh, I
signing
see.
checks.
No,
Yeah, I was gonna suggest that actually.
We
Yeah.
could
Oh, yeah.
do reviewing and signing checks.
That's a good idea.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay. I will put that together, like, think end of summer
Mhm.
or November.
I think it's a good idea, especially the next several committee holes of the budget. We've got a lot of business,
Right,
so
right,
it's probably better to
Push
push.
it
And I
back.
know you're busy with
Yeah, I would just be
Tax
lying to you
season,
by
yeah.
telling you that
Yeah.
it would be done.
yeah.
Okay, so next is our board self-evaluation. I haven't done it for a while, so I'm happy to drive it this year. And how long, George, will it take you, if I get the survey, how long will it take you to send it out?
Probably a couple weeks, I have to see how
Okay,
much.
all
work
right,
it
I'll
needs.
get it to you as soon as I can. And I can't remember, did you change the survey last year?
Well, I did it as, was it a Google Doc?
You did it as a Google Doc, yeah.
Yeah, I can send you the link to it
Yeah.
if that would be helpful.
But you didn't change the questions.
No,
Okay, well, we'll talk offline and then one of us, she'll send it to me and one of us will send it to you then. So we can get it going. Cause it's been a year, I think did we finish this in March last year or April? It's getting time to re up, yeah, okay. Anything else on this?
well, if the questions haven't changed, I mean, I can tweak them and send them out again if that makes it easier for George.
Okay.
Or, I mean, but if you prefer to
No,
manage it, that's fine too, I can send you the link.
All right, yeah, cause I don't think the questions will change.
I'll send, should I send everyone, or I'll send the two of you the link, and
Okay,
that way you can look at it and see if there's anything that
okay.
needs to
No,
be.
Don't make George do it. I'll look at it, just the two
Oh,
of us.
okay.
We'll figure it out. And then if it's okay, you can go ahead and send it out.
Okay,
The questions might change though, right? Because we're
Well-
going from once a year to quarterly intentionally, so we check in more frequently.
We're
So-
talking about
Well, we're
board
not gonna survey
evaluation
though
or
every,
executive director evaluation.
no, we're talking about board evaluation.
Yeah, the
board-
the
That's what I thought. We're
self-evaluation.
talking about executive directors quarterly, while we're
Quarterly,
annually.
You're talking about board goals, right?
I'm reading
But it-
quarterly review.
View, board self-eval.
it's just to check on where we are with the
Uh-oh.
goals. It's not to refill out the survey. We only do that once a year.
Oh, okay.
Is that what you're thinking?
Or were you
Or am I
thinking that perhaps we
misunderstanding?
should
I was wondering
think
if
of it
this
differently?
survey was going out quarterly now.
No, no, no,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Just
No
to
way.
check quarterly how we're doing.
Because the quarterly review is after we've picked goals and just to check in and see how
Yeah, the
we're doing on
progress,
the
yeah.
goals.
Right, right,
On the
right.
progress, yeah.
Well, and the goals will have changed
Yes,
since
we'll pick
last
new
time,
goals.
yeah.
All right. Memberships. Wanna talk about that?
Yeah, we have in the budget, for 3 board members to be, is ALA and Yale for libraries combined?
Alien, yes.
Oh, that's combined, okay, so I guess 2 memberships then. I
Yes.
thought they were separate, I don't know why I thought that.
No,
Yeah.
it's just 2 of them.
Which
Okay.
I passed it to
So,
everyone.
historically, trustees have rotated these memberships. Oh, there's, so it is divisional, yeah, so you can't, you have, if you do ALA, you're also doing the divisional, they can't be separate,
Oh,
okay.
Right.
So there are two memberships, and this is, Gina's put together this nice sheet of who's been members, a member and when, so.
Everybody has it.
Oh, everyone has it,
Yeah. She's good. She's really good.
yes. So, I think that's, I don't know what else to say about it.
Whereas
I
I've
think
done
there,
it for a while.
yeah, I
Bye.
think there's some value
Yeah.
in being a member and,
Yeah, I could do ILA if you want, because I haven't had that one before. If nobody else wants it, sorry.
Yeah, who else? Who wants the other one? I don't do them because
You know it.
I'm a librarian and I already have my own
Yeah.
membership, so I don't need to do it.
Celeste, would you like it? You really don't have to do
Sure.
it. Except when putting the
I mean,
stuff
it's
comes
really just
over.
getting the journal. The
Yeah, no,
journal,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
fine.
that's
I
fine.
think you'll
And you get
George.
emails.
George?
I'm happy to let Celeste.
So you will do the ALA and the
Mhm.
United.
That's sort of why we
Libraries.
went from everyone having all the memberships to just doing two.
Yeah,
'cause-
absolutely, makes a lot of sense.
And if you see something in, like, then you
Then
bring
you
it up.
bring it.
and keep in mind, if you want access to,
They're all
library periodicals, we got the ILA Reporter, American Libraries, and the trustee collection, so you can take those home with you.
And also, if you are the member, when you get the journal and you see something that you think, because some of it
Right.
is for staff, really.
Yeah.
Not that it's not interesting, but there are things that apply just to trustees, so if you see something, you can, share
I
and
think I sent one
Yeah.
thing
make a
around.
copy, or, yeah, we do that.
Or if you want to attend the annual conference, it's,
Yeah, ALA is in Chicago this summer, so
is
that
it?
is,
I may
easier to get to than usual.
do
Yeah.
a personal membership.
I never noticed our pictures up there before.
Mm-hmm.
Never?
No.
What?
How long have they been there?
For a while.
We've always been there.
Yeah, I keep changing if anybody leaves.
Yeah.
I keep seeing my
Re-upping.
face staring back at me, and I always try to turn away.
Well, see, I face this way.
All right, items for next time? Oh, do we need a motion for this? It says possible motion.
Just approve the payment.
Well, I mean, it's
Maybe
in the
not.
budget though, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
the
don't
board
think we
wants
need a
to,
motion.
yeah.
Yeah.
We don't need a
That's
motion,
okay.
okay. So items for next time besides what's on here? No?
Succession planning,
Okay. For you want that on for committee of the whole?
does that make sense?
Yeah, I
think
think
it
we should
does,
do it
yeah.
committee of the whole,
Okay.
yeah. Mhm. Anything else?
Budget, financial statement. Same old, same old.
Okay.
And obviously an update from conversations with the attorney and
Yeah.
what the new
Oh,
policy
yeah,
looks like.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think at March, committee of the whole, we're going to have, this is someone that knows that we're under no obligation to work with them, but a bookmobile vendor that would have some information about different options. So I think it's best for them to come in and give the details and the pros and cons of different vehicles, so.
And Catherine, will you send me the board policies when you, I don't think I have those written down for, oh, no, I do.
Yeah, I think
I
for
do.
committee of the whole,
Never
and then we'll
mind, I
add
have 'em.
30-60.
Yeah, yeah. Have to add
Just
those.
wanna warn people that he says no obligation, that doesn't mean we're putting it in the budget. I don't think we even are considering putting bookmobile in the budget. It's just learning for
Information.
future.
Information.
It's not like when you walk in a car dealership, you walk out
Right.
with a car.
Well, and the reason I
does
mentioned
that?
that is that, you know, there's obviously a bidding process, and I know that he's got some kind of workaround, which he'll share with the board, I'm sure, but we've informed him, like, this is just, well, there's like a government,
course.
like, one of those,
Like a
like
grant?
fleet purchase things that if you opt in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But we've been very clear that, listen, we
We
appreciate the
don't like the
information.
workaround, we like following
Right.
The spirit.
the spirit of the
And the
law.
Yeah.
The letter and the spirit, we embrace.
It's also good to have an idea of what kind of
Yeah,
money
it's a
we're
good-
talking.
But he's very, he's very knowledgeable, so that's,
Yeah.
I mean, if he's willing to, no obligation and give us the information,
Yeah.
then I think it makes sense to.
Yeah, I would like to learn about it, but
Yeah.
I'm not ready to plunk down some money.
Well, we're just finding out how much he's gonna tell us. And then we say, okay.
He'll say, this is what we have, and we can, set you up with a loan and all this. You got that AAA credit rating, and all of you are gonna gloss over with beautiful.
And you're gonna say,
No. You guys promised me you'd do this.
That's funny.
He's right.
Well, you've been
He
warned,
knows what
you've been
is
warned.
coming.
No, I'm really not.
Maybe he should be warned of,
Then for staff to, give secondhand information for the board here directly, so.
Yeah,
I'm full
Absolutely
disclosure, I'm.
But remember,
But
with
you're,
this thing,
Andrew is probably right, he's gonna,
it's
I'm sure he's gonna take some
information,
sales.
it's
pitfalls.
a sales pitch.
Yeah,
sure, that's a good
at
one.
least some of it will be a sales pitch.
All of it will be a sales pitch. Do not cloud over.
We get it,
All right,
Andrew.
all right.
Who wants to be the?
Who wants to speak in public forum? Anyone? Okay. Any other announcements besides what's on here?
I just wanna point out that I think we're close to finalizing the, so there wasn't the legislative breakfast on President's Day this year, so some of us are getting together, to host, elected representatives, so I think there's gonna be one for Senator Edley Allen and then one for Representative Mason. I think with both of those, it's to keep the numbers down, it'll be, myself and one trustee, so I don't know if any trustees wanna volunteer, or if I can share it with the whole board, and then if anyone's available, they could join. How do you?
When is it?
I think it's gonna be, it's gonna be in March sometime, like I said,
Okay.
we're.
You'll let
finalizing
us know.
dates, Yeah,
Yeah,
I think we're looking at several dates on the week of March 14th,
okay. And the Get Ready to Advocate sessions tomorrow,
that's correct.
And
You can still
then-
register, I believe.
yeah.
Does everyone have that information, do you want me to send that out again?
Is in, or something.
And then there's one, I think the following week,
Yeah,
I
that-
forget what it was called.
And that's where the.
Library 101 for
Legislators are gonna be
legislate.
invited.
Yeah.
and- Yeah.
That's on the
That's the second
27th, yeah,
The 27th of,
February,
okay,
next
that's-
Monday.
that's the one I was, yeah. I think, yeah.
So I'll send that out to the board with the dates, and then
Okay,
if
that'd be
anyone's
great.
available, you can let me know.
Awesome,
Okay.
okay.
Anyone else? Would like to move to
I do have a question. Have we ever tried getting money from the earmarks from our federal representatives?
Honestly, no, and I'd love to learn more about that process.
All right, because that's gonna open up soon. So I
Okay.
could-
You want to set up a meeting, we can talk about it?
Yeah.
Because I believe you have expertise with that, right?
Yeah, I mean, Durbin's office had reached out to me from Mano Mano, and that's why I remembered. But we
Okay,
could
yeah.
go through Schneider, Duckworth, or Durbin
Okay,
for that.
yeah, absolutely, let's talk.
Anyone else?
I
Would like
just
to
would
move
like
to
to
adjourn.
thank the Boy Scouts for coming.
Yes, thank you.
It's nice to have some spectators.
All right, who wants to move to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?